sus. Here are the key conventions to employ. 1. Disfluencies and fillers. Words like, honestly, actually, and literally are the glue of conversational English. They should appear in the middle of thoughts, not just at the beginnings of sentences. Example, I just think, if you're going to, go on national television, maybe wash your legs. 2. False starts and mid-sentence corrections. Speakers often start a sentence, realize they want to phrase it differently, and restart or pivot using dashes. Do not use ellipses for this, for example. But, you can clearly see she was completely, entirely overwhelmed. 3. Active back-channeling, short interjections. Instead of one person speaking for a minute straight, the listener should interject with agreements, shock, or confirmations to break up the text. Example, host speaker. And then he literally fed her the steak, expert speaker, with his bare hands. Host speaker. With his actual bare hands, yes. 4. Overlaps and cutoffs. Use dashes to show one person cutting off the other's thought. Example, host speaker. I just don't understand how she could expert speaker. Because she's completely avoidant. That's why. 5. Colloquialisms and hyperbole. Best friends talking about reality TV will use dramatic phrasing. Phrases like, I am screaming, my jaw was on the floor, red flag, the ick, and cooked are natural here. Example, multi-turn snippet.
We really have to talk about the fact that he literally brought up the soap thing again.
Oh my God, right. The soap conspiracy.
How do you even, I would just pack my bags. I would literally call an Uber.
Well, yeah, because it's not even about the soap, It's about his ego.
Exactly. It's so delusional. Natural notes. Imagine, right? Just imagine sitting across from your brand new spouse, a total stranger you literally just legally bound yourself to on national television.
A nightmare.
Right. And you look them dead in the eyes and say the most soul-crushing sentence imaginable. You say, I am just not sexually attracted to you.
That'd be brutal. Just absolutely devastating.
Completely devastating. Most people would, pack their bags, order an Uber straight to the airport, and instantly dial their therapist. But today we are looking at a man who heard those exact words, smiled, and decided his wife was just playing some fun little game of hard to get.
Which is a level of psychological self-preservation that is, frankly, terrifying to witness. It really is. And that is barely the tip of the delusion iceberg we are crashing into tonight.
It really is. Babes, welcome back. We love you. We see you. And honestly, nothing, and I mean nothing, prepares you for the emotional roller coaster of watching two strangers get married and immediately realize they have drastically, wildly different ideas of what marriage actually means.
Yeah, they really have no clue.
None. So we've got our wedding-inspired cocktails poured because, frankly, tonight requires romance, patience, and maybe a tiny bit of emotional support.
I'm having a jalapeno margarita because we were dealing with some seriously spicy, painful reality checks today.
Very fitting. I went with a classic Negroni. Bitter, complex, and basically required to get through the sheer volume of red flags we have to unpack. Cheers to the Snark Squad.
Cheers. Now, before we totally drag these couples through the mud, let's talk about our own messy lives for a second. It's time for adulting confessions.
Oh boy, here we go. Because honestly, watching these people try to merge their lives made me think about all the completely random, bizarre responsibilities of adulthood that literally nobody warned us about.
The list is infinite. It really is.
Yeah.
But the one hitting me the hardest lately is the sudden, just horrifying realization that produce goes bad in approximately 12 minutes.
Oh my God, yes. The crisper drawer is a graveyard.
It's a joke. You buy this beautiful bundle of spinach, right? You look away to answer one text message, and it is dissolved into green slime.
Stop. The spinach guilt is so real. It really is. For me, it's the fact that I'm entirely responsible for booking my own medical appointment.
Oh, the absolute worst.
When did that happen? I still feel like I need an adult to call the dentist for me. I get phone anxiety. And then, you watch the show, and these people are taking on the ultimate adult responsibility.
Right, merging finances, sharing a bathroom.
Exactly, being legally responsible for another human being. It makes my inability to schedule an oil change feel trivial, but also, how are they doing this when I can barely keep a houseplant alive?
Well, they aren't doing it well, clearly.
Fair point. But exactly how did our parents do this? I used to look at my parents and think they had some secret manual for life. Now I realize they were just walking around the grocery store, blindly guessing which cheese was the good cheese, and just entirely making it up as they went along.
Yeah, the illusion of adult competence is basically the greatest scam in human history.
It really is.
And that's what we are watching play out on screen here. These couples thought getting married would instantly grant them like emotional maturity and relationship competence.
Like a magic wand.
Exactly. They assumed the rings would act as a software update for their brains. But putting a ring on someone with a massive fear of commitment is like, I don't know, putting a spoiler on a 1998 Honda Civic.
Oh my God.
Doesn't make the car run any better. It just looks ridiculous.
A spoiler on a Civic? I am screaming. That is so accurate. Speaking of ridiculous, we need to do our relationship hot takes before we get to the recap.
I am ready. Do your worst.
Okay, I am going to throw 5 rapid-fire relationship questions at you, and I want your absolute, unfiltered truth. Ready?
Hit me.
First up, is texting every day actually important, or is it just a toxic modern expectation?
It is entirely necessary. But, and this is big, but the type of text matters.
Okay, explain that.
Like, I don't need a play-by-play of your lunch, right? But if we are supposedly building a life together and 24 hours pass without a single check-in, you are operating as a single person. You just are.
Oh, see, I totally disagree. I think the pressure to constantly text drains all the mystery out of a relationship.
Mystery. We're adults. I want logistics.
No, but listen, if you text me all day, what are we going to talk about over dinner? Hey, remember 3 hours ago when you texted me about that Excel spreadsheet? Tragic. Boring.
I mean, you can talk about ideas, not just your schedule, but fine. What's the next one?
Okay, next question. How soon is too soon to meet someone's family?
Anything before 3 months is reckless endangerment.
Reckless endangerment.
It is. You are still in the novelty phase. You're flooded with dopamine. You don't even know if you actually like the person yet, let alone if you want to subject yourself to their mother's, like, passive-aggressive comments about the turkey being dry.
See, the romantic in me says meet them week 2.
Week 2, you are unhinged.
Hear me out. If the family is a total nightmare, I want to know immediately before I catch real feelings. I need the intel up front.
Okay, well, good luck with that trauma. What's number 3?
Okay, question 3. Should couples share absolutely everything, or is complete independence required for survival?
Complete transparency is a trap. You need a private inner world. The idea that your partner needs to know every single fleeting thought or, read every text, that is rooted in insecurity, not intimacy.
Honestly, I'm with you on that one. Let me have my group chat in peace. Do not look at my phone.
Exactly. Let the group chat remain sacred.
Yes. Okay, question 4. Is arguing healthy if you resolve it, or is a completely peaceful, argument-free relationship the ultimate goal?
A relationship without conflict is a relationship without boundaries. Period.
Ooh, say that again.
I mean it. If you aren't arguing, someone is compromising their needs into absolute oblivion just to keep the peace. The metric of a good relationship is the speed and grace of the repair, not the absence of the rupture.
Oh, wow. Put that on a bumper sticker. That was profound.
I have my moments.
You do. All right, last one. What small gesture feels more romantic to you than a massive, expensive, grand gesture?
Oh, anticipating a logistical nightmare.
Wait, what does that mean?
Like, if I am stressed about an early morning flight and I wake up and you've already made the coffee and pulled the car around, that is infinitely better than a diamond bracelet.
An act of service. I love that. For me, it's remembering a tiny throwaway detail from a conversation like 3 weeks ago and bringing it up.
Yeah, that shows active listening.
Right. It shows you actually care about what I'm saying.
Yeah.
All right, before we fully dive into the recap, we absolutely have to do our experts we need to talk moment.
Oh, I know exactly where this is going.
Because there was a scene in this episode that made me want to dial the producers, demand the control room, and literally shut the entire production down.
You are talking about Felipe.
I'm talking about Felipe. Thanks. We have to address this immediately. Tori is walking around on cloud 9, practically picking out curtains for their summer house, just completely enamored with the roses and the romance.
She is totally swept up.
And Felipe sits her down and casually confesses to a history of cheating. But it wasn't just, hey, I made a mistake when I was young. He told her and millions of viewers that he only felt bad about the cheating after he got caught.
The phrasing there is so critical. We really need to break down the psychology of that admission.
Please do, because my jaw was on the floor.
Right, so he is describing regret, not remorse. And there's a massive difference.
Okay, unpack that.
Remorse requires empathy, right? It is the agonizing realization that you have inflicted emotional pain on someone you care about. Regret, on the other hand, is entirely self-centered.
Right, because he only cares about how it affects him.
Exactly. Regret is saying, I am upset that my actions have created a negative consequence for my own life. He isn't sorry he betrayed his partners. He is sorry he had to deal with them crying and the breakup and looking like the bad guy.
Wow, why in the world would relationship experts cast this man on a marriage show? Tori explicitly asks him, she literally says, "Are you ready for a monogamous relationship?" And he hits her with a hesitant, "I hope so."
I hope so. Just an unbelievable answer to give your new wife.
I would be running into the ocean. What advice do you even give Tori in this moment?
You don't give her advice, you give her a parachute.
Yeah.
The issue is entirely unfixable within the confines of an 8-week accelerated television experiment.
Totally unfixable.
And remember, Felipe also admits he woke up with a deep fear of commitment, questioning if he only likes Tori because she's, quote, super hot.
Ugh, the disrespect.
He is severely lacking foundational emotional discipline. So the conversation Tori needs to have isn't about how to make him ready. It's about asking herself why she is willing to ignore a blaring red siren just because the guy holding the megaphone bought her a bouquet of roses.
That is so true. It's the bare minimum, and she's swooning. But babes, enough about our own relationship opinions. Let's get into the actual meat of Married at First Sight, where the vows are real, the pressure is catastrophic, and someone is definitely about to say, "I just don't know if I'm ready for this."
Somebody always says it.
Every single season. Let's start by looking at the couples who are completely losing their grip on reality. I want to talk about the delusion of ego, starting with Sean and Nikki.
Oh, this is a masterclass in cognitive dissonance.
Yeah.
Let's establish who Nikki is first, right?
Yes, set the stage.
She is pragmatic, she is highly independent, and she ended a decade-long relationship because she simply outgrew the man. She refuses to shrink herself.
Right, she actually said her ex told her he needed a, quote, more simple woman.
Which is just wild.
So wild. So Nikki is walking into this marriage knowing her worth and refusing to settle for less. And then she meets Sean. They are having a conversation, and Nikki does the hardest, most honest thing you can possibly do in this situation. She tells Sean, point blank, that she is not sexually attracted to him.
See, under normal circumstances, a secure adult absorbs that blow, feels the sting of rejection, and says, okay, let's take the physical pressure off and see if we can build an emotional connection first.
Right, that's what a normal person would do.
But Sean's ego is so incredibly fragile that his brain literally cannot process the information. The reality that his new wife doesn't desire him is so threatening to his self-image that he instantly constructs an alternate universe just to protect himself.
He practically calls her a liar. He immediately points to their past physical interactions as ironclad proof that she secretly wants him. And babes, the quote he used in the confessional, "I nearly threw my remote at the television."
It was vile.
He claims Nikki is playing games because, and I quote, "she tongued me down with food in her mouth."
A horrifying collection of words. Just truly repulsive.
I gagged. I actually gagged.
But it perfectly reveals how Sean views physical intimacy. For Nikki, who explains this very clearly, a kiss is an exploratory tool. She is dipping her toe in the water to see if a spark can be manufactured.
Because that's what the experts tell them to do.
Exactly. But for Sean, any physical touch is a binding contract of intense sexual desire. He lacks the nuance to understand that a kiss can just be a test run.
Wait, I'm going to challenge you on Nikki's behavior for a second, though.
Oh, yeah.
If Nikki knows, deep down in her soul, that this man gives her the absolute ick, and he clearly does, is she partly to blame for using him as a makeout test dummy? If you aren't attracted to someone, don't kiss them, especially on a honeymoon where emotions are already unhinged. Isn't she sending massive mixed signals?
It's a fair point. I'll give you that. But you have to factor in the environment. They're on a show called Married at First Sight. The mandate from the experts constantly is to trust the process and lean in.
True, they drill that into their heads.
So Nikki is just trying to be a good sport. She is attempting to force the physical chemistry because she knows that's the expectation of the show. She just vastly underestimated Sean's emotional immaturity. She thought she was casually testing the waters, and Sean thought she was signing a 30-year mortgage.
A mortgage. But his reaction to being rejected is to become so demanding. He starts listing off his physical requirements like a hostage negotiator.
It was so bizarre.
He tells this woman who literally just asked for space that he expects back rubs, head scratches, and for his butt to be smacked when he walks through the kitchen.
It's an aggressive defense mechanism. Instead of retreating when she asks for space, he leans in harder to reestablish his dominance, and it manifests in these deeply uncomfortable, possessive jokes.
Like the dress comment.
Yes, like when Nikki comes out in her new dress for dinner, and she playfully mentions she doesn't want to twirl too fast because she doesn't want a boob to pop out.
And Sean immediately, without missing a beat, says, "I want a boob to pop out, but I'm not going to let it happen." My skin crawled completely off my body and left the room. It's so possessive. She explicitly set a boundary that she is uncomfortable with heavy sexualization right now, and he steamrolls right over it for a cheap, gross joke.
It's all about control for him. But honestly, if you want to understand Sean's psychology completely, you don't even look at the kissing. You look at the soap.
Oh my God, the soap conspiracy. I literally cannot believe we're talking about a 48-year-old man who refuses to wash his own body with soap.
It is a medical marvel that he is married.
He literally looks at the camera and blames the hygiene industry. He calls it a, quote, media conspiracy to make people buy soap. He genuinely thinks he's outsmarting the entire concept of cleanliness.
But connect the dots here, right? The soap conspiracy is the exact same psychological mechanism as his reaction to Nikki's rejection.
Wait, how so?
Sean desperately needs to believe he possesses a superior intellect. He thinks he sees the truth that the rest of the sheep are blind to. So whether he is telling himself that Big Soap is lying about bacteria or telling himself that Nikki is lying about her lack of attraction, Sean uses delusion as a shield against vulnerability.
Oh, wow. That makes so much sense.
He cannot be rejected if the person rejecting him is just participating in a game he's already figured out.
That is brilliant and also deeply, deeply depressing. It's like, just buy a bar of Dove, buddy. It's not that deep.
Just use a loofah, please.
But Sean isn't the only one wielding his ego like a weapon this episode. Let's talk about Mecca and Bella Jolie. Because if Sean is using his ego to deny a really bad reality, Mecca is using his ego to actively destroy a genuinely good one.
The Mecca situation is the textbook definition of self-sabotage. I mean, if we look at this setup, this couple is actually thriving.
They really were.
They are coordinating outfits, drinking tea in their robes on the balcony, laughing. They have a fantastic, low-stakes friendship dynamic brewing, which is literally the perfect foundation for this kind of arranged marriage.
The vibes were immaculate. I was rooting for them. And then, out of absolutely nowhere, Mecca decides to drop a nuclear bomb on his own hotel room.
Unprompted.
Entirely unprompted. He asks Bella Jolie who she thinks is more attracted to the other. Why would you ask that? What is the possible positive outcome of that question?
There isn't one. It is a trap he set for both of them.
And Bella Jolie handles it so gracefully at first, she tosses it back and asks what he thinks. And this man, with his whole chest, declares that her attraction to him is at 150%, but his attraction to her is only at 80%.
The audacity to use percentages.
He assigned percentages. He literally quantified exactly how much less he cares about her.
And the worst part is, when he sees her face drop, when he realizes he just completely shattered the intimacy in the room, he tries to backpedal. He renegotiates the numbers down to 80% versus 60%, as if that somehow makes it less insulting.
Right, like, oh, I only like you 20% less now, don't be mad. The damage was instantaneous. Bella Jolie said a massive warning alarm went off in her head, and she instantly decided to pull all her affection back.
As she should.
But explain to me the psychology of this. If you are winning, if the girl is into you, if the honeymoon is going great, why do you pull the pin on the grenade?
Because intimacy requires a terrifying loss of control. When things are going well, Mecca feels vulnerable. The better things get, the higher the stakes become, and the more it will hurt if she ultimately rejects him down the line.
So he ruins it first.
Exactly. His ego steps in to protect him. By asking this question and asserting that she likes him significantly more than he likes her, Mecca is attempting to reestablish a power imbalance where he holds all the leverage.
It's preemptive rejection. He is rejecting her a little bit now, so if the marriage fails, he can tell his boys back home, yeah, I wasn't that into her anyway. She was basically obsessed with me.
Precisely. It is a classic negging tactic, whether he consciously realizes he's doing it or not. He wants the emotional security of knowing she is hooked, without having to risk his own emotional capital.
But he totally misread her.
Totally. What he fails to realize is that a secure woman like Bella Jolie doesn't respond to negging by trying harder to win him over. She responds by walking away. He won the power struggle, but he lost the wife.
He absolutely bankrupted his own relationship. Just tragic. Okay, let's pivot from the couples destroying their relationships with words to the couple destroying theirs with silence.
Oh, this one is tough.
The anxious avoidant dance of death between Devin and Caitlin.
This is the most psychologically painful dynamic to watch on the entire show because they are both genuinely suffering, and neither has the emotional vocabulary to stop it.
It's true. Devin is our self-proclaimed lover boy. He says his love language is physical touch, but honestly, his love language seems to be relentless, suffocating validation.
Constant reassurance.
Yes, and Caitlin is deeply, fundamentally avoidant. Let's talk about the gym incident.
The gym incident is the perfect microcosm of their total mismatch. They agree to wake up and go to the gym together, right?
Right, a normal couple activity.
But Caitlin wakes up early, realizes she feels overwhelmed and needs solitude to regulate her nervous system, and she just leaves. She goes to the gym, works out alone, and doesn't even leave a Post-it note for her husband.
Nothing. So Devin wakes up in an empty room, totally abandoned, and his anxiety spikes through the roof. And when they finally confront it, Caitlin says she hates being, quote, under someone 24/7, and that she simply cannot do one-on-one time for long stretches.
Which, to an anxiously attached person like Devin, translates directly to, I find you repulsive, and I am actively planning my escape.
Oh, completely.
Let's look at the mechanics of this feedback loop. Devin regulates his internal anxiety by seeking external reassurance. When he feels insecure, he demands physical closeness to soothe himself.
But Caitlin regulates her internal anxiety by creating physical and emotional distance. She needs space to feel safe. So when Devin panics and moves closer to grab onto her, she feels engulfed and suffocated. So she takes 2 steps back.
And her taking 2 steps back is the exact trigger for Devin's deepest fear of abandonment, causing him to sprint toward her, which causes her to completely shut down. It is a perpetual motion machine of misery.
It's the Chinese finger trap.
That is the perfect analogy.
The harder Devin pulls to secure the connection and get a hug, the tighter and more trapped Caitlin feels. The only way to loosen the trap is to stop pulling, relax, and give it some slack. If Devin just gave her 3 feet of space, she might eventually walk toward him. But his anxiety physically will not let him do that.
No, he is incapable of it.
Yeah.
We see this explode at the water park. They were hanging out with Adam and Marissa, who were practically performing a softcore adult film in the wave pool.
Oh my God, they were so handsy.
They are tripped all over each other. And Devin sits there watching this highly performative PDA, and he completely unravels.
He starts comparing his 3-day-old fragile marriage to this exaggerated physical display. He turns to Caitlin, who actually thought they were having a great, relaxed afternoon, and tells her she is feeling.
He just ruins the vibe.
He tells her she isn't giving him what he needs and that they barely hang out. It completely deflates her.
This is a concept known in psychology as emotional siphoning. Devin is not trying to build a genuine connection with Caitlin in that moment. He's trying to use Caitlin as a human pacifier to soothe his own dysregulation.
Wow, a human pacifier.
Yes. He is placing the entire burden of his emotional stability onto a woman he met less than a week ago. That is an impossible standard for anyone to meet, let alone someone with avoidant tendencies.
Okay, but hold on. I have to defend Devin for just a second.
Go for it.
At what point does Caitlin's valid need for space just become emotional unavailability? She signed up for a reality show where you marry a stranger and immediately go on a honeymoon. You cannot abandon your husband on day 3 and say, I can't do one-on-one time. If you can't do one-on-one time, why did you apply for a marriage experiment?
It's a crucial distinction, and you're right to point it out. Caitlin likes the concept of marriage. She wants the security and the title. But the practice of marriage requires a high tolerance for the discomfort of another person's physical presence and emotional needs.
And she doesn't have that.
Not at all. Caitlin eventually admits that her standoffish behavior comes from a deep fear of rejection. She is rejecting him before he can figure out her flaws and reject her. She is emotionally unavailable for this format.
So they're both doomed.
Essentially, Devin's complete lack of self-soothing skills makes him equally unprepared. They are uniquely designed to torture each other.
It's so exhausting to watch, but you know what's even more exhausting? Watching couples completely ignore their massive, glaring incompatibilities because they are distracted by physical chemistry.
Ah, yes. The honeymoon facade.
Let's talk about Adam and Marissa.
The couple that is loudly declaring themselves the winners of the season. Adam actually looked at the camera and said Devin and Caitlin are cooked.
Always fear the couple that has to constantly announce how happy they are. Adam and Marissa are incredibly physical. They are always touching, kissing, validating each other. But beneath the surface, Adam is exhibiting some incredibly bizarre, rigid behaviors. We have to talk about the swim socks.
The swim socks are fascinating. Adam shows up to a resort pool party wearing literal socks pulled halfway up his calves.
In the pool.
He tells the other guys it's to prevent foot fungus or slipping, but he tries to play it off as a legitimate fashion statement.
The internet was convinced his feet must be rotting off, but honestly, I think it points to a massive control issue. He cannot even let his bare feet touch the ground at a luxury resort. He has to control his environment down to the microscopic level.
He is highly regimented.
And that rigidity bleeds into the most unhinged moment of the episode, the steak dinner.
This scene defied all laws of culinary etiquette and basic hygiene.
They are at a gorgeous romantic dinner. Adam is eating a steak. Instead of using his knife and fork to cut a piece for his wife like a normal human, he reaches onto his plate with his bare hands, pinches a piece of steak, and feeds it directly into Marissa's mouth with his fingers.
Greasy steak fingers.
And then he licks his fingers clean at a white tablecloth restaurant.
It is a grotesque display of performative intimacy. It's an attempt to manufacture this wild, passionate dynamic that bypasses actual emotional vulnerability. But what is truly concerning is Marissa's reaction,
She just eats it. She chews the hand steak and smiles like it's a romantic movie.
which tells us everything we need to know about the dopamine high of novelty masking. Marissa is so swept up in the novelty of being desired and being on a honeymoon that her prefrontal cortex has temporarily shut down.
She is completely blinded by the abs.
Exactly. She isn't evaluating Adam's actual character or long-term viability. She's just surfing the wave of physical validation.
But the iceberg is coming. Adam is incredibly strict. He doesn't drink alcohol. He demands things be done his way, from jet skiing to scheduling. Right now, Marissa is just going along with the ride. But what happens on a Tuesday in 3 weeks when Marissa says, I don't want to go hiking at 6 a.m., I want to drink a glass of Pinot Noir and watch reality TV?
The facade shatters. As long as Marissa is an agreeable accessory to Adam's highly controlled lifestyle, they will look like a perfect match. The minute she exerts her own autonomy, Adam's rigidity will snap, and they will realize they have absolutely zero foundation beneath the physical touch.
It's going to be a disaster. Which brings us to the final category of chaos, the glacial pacing of apathy. Let's talk about Cameron and Michelle and Nick and Courtney. These couples are just paralyzed.
Cameron and Michelle are blocked by massive, immovable logistical mountains that they are far too polite to actually climb.
Cameron is a basketball coach in Portland who openly admits on camera that commitment makes him want to run for the hills. Why are you on this show, Cameron?
It makes no sense.
And Michelle is 34, deeply rooted in Seattle, and refuses to leave. Plus, she is facing major fibroid surgery, which puts her on an incredibly tight biological clock for having children. Oh, and she is strictly waiting to have sex until a deep emotional bond is formed.
It is the ultimate stalemate. Cameron's core driver is a fear of change. He wants things to move organically and slowly. Michelle's core driver is biological and geographical urgency.
So they're incompatible on paper.
Completely. The environment is forcing them to merge, but their internal compasses are pointing in opposite directions. So instead of fighting about the fact that neither wants to move, they have polite, surface-level conversations about how to vacuum up dog hair. They are actively avoiding the actual marriage.
Just talking about chores to avoid talking about their lives. But if Cameron and Michelle are being painfully polite, Nick and Courtney are just painfully toxic. I have never seen a woman project her own insecurities so violently onto a man.
Courtney's putting on a masterclass in deflection.
She spends the entire episode complaining to the other wives that Nick is boring. And her primary piece of evidence, the man didn't know how to operate a specific high-end espresso machine. That makes him an unsuitable life partner in her eyes.
Because clearly, barista skills equal husband material.
Obviously. She cringes when he tries to cuddle, tells him she's a slow burn, and acts like his mere presence is a massive inconvenience to her vacation.
Let's explain how projection functions here, because it is very stark. Courtney's entirely overwhelmed by the vulnerability that this experiment demands. She feels out of her depth, awkward, and insecure.
Right.
But instead of acknowledging, I am scared and I don't know how to be a wife, her brain projects that inadequacy onto Nick. She decides he is the problem. He is too stiff. He is too boring. He is failing to entertain her. By making him the villain, she completely absolves herself of any responsibility to actually try.
Yes. She wants him to be a court jester. She wants him to perform and pull her out of her shell so she doesn't have to do any of the emotional labor. And when Nick finally tries to have an adult conversation on the boat when he says he feels like he's being pushed into the friend zone, she immediately utilizes the most manipulative weapon in the arsenal.
The deflection cry.
The crying filibuster. She starts rapid-fire sobbing. She claims she's a people pleaser, and talking about her needs is just so overwhelming. But babes, the tears lasted for maybe 45 seconds.
Yeah, fat.
She wiped her eyes, took a deep breath, said, "Whew, I feel better," and entirely shut the conversation down. Nick never got his answer.
Because the tears were not an expression of grief or emotional depth. They were a filibuster. They were deployed specifically to derail Nick's very valid line of questioning. You cannot critique someone while they are crying, so she cries to escape accountability.
Though, to be fair to Courtney, Nick is not exactly a naive victim here. He has been on The Circle and Perfect Match. This man is a reality TV veteran. Is he actually looking for a wife, or is he just trying to build his follower count?
The intention is highly questionable, I agree. But regardless of his motives, the dynamic remains the same. He is at least attempting to participate in the mechanics of the show, while Courtney refuses to even approach the starting line.
True. Okay, we have dragged these couples enough. It's time to transition into our segments, starting with the couple therapy report card.
My favorite part.
We are going to grade these couples on communication, emotional maturity, chemistry, effort, and long-term potential. Who is failing first?
I will gladly start with Devin and Caitlin.
Lay it on them.
Communication F. They're speaking completely different languages. Emotional maturity, D-.
Yeah.
Devin cannot self-soothe, and Caitlin abandons ship at the first sign of pressure.
Ouch. What about chemistry?
Chemistry is a D.
Yep.
It's entirely one-sided. Effort is a C. Devin is trying way too hard, and Caitlin isn't trying at all. Long-term potential, absolute 0.
Brutal, but accurate. Okay, I am grading Mecca and Bella Jolie. Communication gets a C. They were doing great until Mecca opened his mouth to ruin it. Emotional maturity gets an F for Mecca, but an A for Bella Jolie for recognizing the red flag and pulling back.
Very fair.
Chemistry gets a B. They had a great foundation. Effort gets a D. Mecca's effort to protect his ego completely overrode his effort to build a marriage. And long-term potential, F. You just cannot unring the bell of telling your wife you like her 70% less than she likes you.
No, you really can't. Let's do Adam and Marissa. Communication, C. They communicate solely through touch, not substance. Emotional maturity, D. Hand-feeding steak is not mature intimacy.
It's really not.
Chemistry, A+, undeniably. Effort, B. They are definitely trying to present as the perfect couple. Long-term potential, D. The second the novelty wears off and a logistical compromise is required, it will implode.
Wow, we are harsh graders today. Let's move to marriage court. We are putting the biggest conflict on trial. I am talking about Sean's delusion versus Nikki's rejection. I will be the prosecutor taking down Sean.
I can't wait to hear this.
This man is guilty of emotional trespassing. When a woman says she needs space, you do not hand her a checklist of physical demands, including butt smacks. He is actively ignoring reality to serve his own ego, and it is a crime against this marriage.
As the defense attorney for Sean, I have an impossible job. However, if we must defend him, we argue that the environment of the experiment is the true culprit here.
I'll blame the system.
Yes. Sean was placed in a pressure cooker with a strict mandate to fall in love. He's interpreting Nikki's willingness to kiss him as a binding agreement of mutual attraction, which is a reasonable assumption for a man told he was scientifically matched with his perfect partner. He's not malicious. He is simply tragically unequipped to read nuance.
The jury finds him guilty of being deeply exhausting. Moving on to the expert's homework assignment. If we were running this show, what is the one thing we would force these couples to do? Let's take Cameron and Michelle.
For Cameron and Michelle, their homework is to stop talking about dog hair and spend one entire dinner discussing geography. The assignment is simple. Pick a city. If you cannot agree on a city to live in by the end of dessert, you must pack your bags and leave the show. Stop wasting everyone's time.
So harsh, but so needed. For Nick and Courtney, the homework is for Courtney to initiate one conversation that doesn't involve complaining. Just one. And for Nick, the homework is to stop trying to pry her open with a crowbar, give her the silent treatment for 24 hours, and see if she actually steps up to fill the void.
I love that. What about Devin and Caitlin?
Devin's homework is to self-soothe. He has to spend 4 hours alone at the resort without texting Caitlin, checking on her, or asking for a hug. And Caitlin's homework is to initiate physical contact exactly once, just to prove her nervous system won't instantly combust.
A phenomenal behavioral experiment.
Right. All right, final segment. Decision Day Crystal Ball. We are predicting the future. Who is most likely to actually make it to Decision Day and say yes?
Statistically, Adam and Marissa. They are so deeply invested in the facade of being the best couple that their egos will force them to say yes on Decision Day, only to quietly file for divorce 6 months after the reunion special airs.
Oh, I completely agree. The ego is too strong to fail on TV. Who is facing the biggest challenge?
Devin and Caitlin. They will not survive the transition back to the real world. If a luxury honeymoon is this painful, sharing a one-bedroom apartment will be lethal.
Too true. Okay, what about a completely chaotic prediction? Hit me with something wild.
My chaotic prediction is that Sean and Nikki somehow limp all the way to decision day, because Sean flat out refuses to acknowledge that they are breaking up.
No way.
Yes, Nikki will try to dump him on camera, and he will look at the experts and say, "She's just stressed at work. We are actually doing great."
He will blame the divorce on the media conspiracy. Babes, this episode was a lot. The delusion, the avoidant tendencies, the literal red flags wrapped in rose bouquets. I want to ask the Snark Squad out there, which of these couples are you actually rooting for, if any? What advice would you scream at the television for Tori to hear? And who do you think is the ultimate villain of the honeymoon so far?
I mean, the psychology is only going to get darker from here. Just wait for the move-ins.
It really is. Thank you so much for joining us for Drinks and Drama. Don't forget to subscribe. Leave a review, only 5 stars, please. Our egos are honestly as fragile as Sean's. And share the deep dive with another reality TV-loving babe who just needs to feel better about their own relationship. Stay hopeful, stay curious, and we'll see you on the Snark side.